You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, Internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Hidden Traps is now available in paperback and ebook from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now, 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Sometimes writers feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
Oh, let me tell you something. I am so sick of Washington and all its works, all them politicians down there and them congressmen. I'll bet you won't find none of them congressmen signing down their electric blankets tonight. Which if they did, their secretaries would get up and go home.
We gotta do something.
Absolutely.
You know what we gotta do? Toga party.
Toga! 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 Toga!
Click, click, boom! I'm coming down on the stereo, baby on the radio. Click, click, boom!
I want you to kill every golfer on the course.
Check me if I'm wrong, Sandy, but if I kill all the golfers, they're gonna lock me up and throw away the key.
Well, all right. It's Friday night, which means it's time for Robinson and Wright. We are live right now on KLRNradio.com. I'm one half of the crew, Mr. Rick Robinson, joined by the other half of the crew, Mr. Dan Wright. And, of course, that silence that you heard was not me falling asleep at the switch. I'm not the guy that usually falls asleep on the air. No, I'm just playing. It's been a long time since you've done that. Hopefully we don't have that happen again anytime soon. All right, so anyway, in case you guys are wondering, we're flashing back to, what was it? That was back when we hadn't even been doing this for that long, and we had decided to extend out the show because we were like, hey, I don't have football. We should do the show longer because normally we're complaining that an hour wasn't enough time. So he tried really, really hard one night, and he didn't want to tell me that he was too tired to do the show. So we got about a quarter of the way into the second hour of the show, and all of a sudden I hear... And I'm like, yeah, we probably should go back to an hour for a while. We've kind of been to at an hour ever since, which has probably been good for both of us. Because now that I don't do the late night show, except for Fridays, I have to admit I've been kind of going to bed early, ish for me anyway.
Yeah.
So, but anyway,
yeah, I'll never live that down.
No, you won't, because occasionally I'll just remind you just for the hell of it. Mainly because I thought it was hilarious. Other people that are affiliated with the station were like, oh my god, he's asleep on the air. That's terrible. I'm like, no, it's not. That's fucking hilarious. Oh, excuse my language. My bad. Guess it's a good thing it's after dark. Like I said, I don't do late night radio much anymore.
Do you realize that when we first started doing the show together, I was the one with the slips like that?
Yes, I know. But see, the difference is I focus all my energy on making sure Off the Rails doesn't have slips like that. So every once in a while, it just kind of happens on the other shows because they don't go out unexpectedly terrestrially, so I don't have to worry about it so much. I actually got yelled at by one of the affiliates a few months ago because I didn't catch a slip on an older episode that I sent them. And they're like, dude, you are so lucky we had our engineer listen to this first, because if I'd have gotten the $500 fine from the FCC, you would have gotten the $500 fine from the FCC. I'm like, I didn't realize it had anything in there. And they're like, yeah, you let one slip that we can't let through. And I was like, which one was it? And apparently... Now, this doesn't make any sense to me because I hear this all the time from the folks on the stations that we run terrestrial on. Apparently, piss for them is still a word that you can't say on the radio, but I hear people that are doing AM radio say ass and piss all the time, but I get yelled at for those words all the time, which is why I've said them now twice, just for the hell of it. But yeah,
I hear both those words on the radio show I listen to all the time.
I guess maybe it's different strokes for different folks. Hell, I don't know. But anyway, so it's been a while, and we took a couple weeks off here and there for holidays and everything else. So, speaking of holidays, how was your Christmas?
It was good. It was excellent. Very, very good Christmas.
Was it the best Christmas Mahana Kwanzaa ever?
I don't know. But yeah, it's up there, definitely.
I was gonna say the answer to that is
and a good New Year's too.
The answer to that is yes, mainly because you didn't spend it in a hotel. Same.
Yeah.
Gonna say it might not be the best ever, but it's got to be up there somewhere because you didn't spend it in a hotel. Speaking of hotels, I will not be making it to CPAC this year, which makes me really sad, which means I can't do my running joke with Choco Jeebus and ask him to take my bags to my room. Damn it. Makes me sad.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be making it either. But I think it's going to have to be a regroup and get the whole crew there next year.
Yeah, we're going to have to try to figure a few things out, and hopefully I have things a little more stable around here. I just kind of got blindsided with the whole, your escrow account's negative on the house you just bought 2 years ago because we weren't smart enough to tell you that your payment needed to go up, and we didn't realize it till it was too late. So now you got to pay us extra to make up for the hole that you're in. Jackasses.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I sent them.
I'm sure.
I'm
sure that your taxes have zero to do with that.
Well, no. My property taxes actually went up substantially because the house that we bought, basically the people that bought the land, put the house on it. So then they did homestead. So in Oklahoma, when you have homestead, your property taxes, once you're locked in, they can only go up a certain percentage each year. So these people had their property taxes locked in at like $55,000, their property value was locked in at like $55,000, which meant their property taxes were like $550 a year. So when we did the mortgage, as far as we knew, because this is what the guy that got us to do the mortgage told us, was our property taxes were going to be $550 a year. So our house payment was X amount of dollars. So much of that was to go to this, and this, and then the insurance and everything else. And then basically the mortgage would include the property taxes, and they would have an escrow account throughout the year. So a portion of the payment that we made each month would go towards that. So the first year, everything went exactly the way it was supposed to. We broke even, no big deal. This middle of the second year, we got a check back. So we assumed that our escrow was actually over. So we get a surprise notification in November that our escrow account is negative because our property values were reassessed when we bought the house, which is apparently standard practice. Nobody bothered to tell us that at the time that we signed the paperwork, though. So my property taxes went from an estimated property value of $55,000 a year, or $55,000 total, sorry, to the asking price for the house, which was like $127,500. So my property taxes shot up by $900. But so since we were in the hole, now we're having to pay not only the additional $900 a month or $900 annually for property taxes, but the difference to make up the whole. So my mortgage payment just shot up almost $200 a month. Thank you very much, bank that shall remain nameless for the moment, because I'm giving you a chance to fix this before I put you on blast in front of 12.5 million homes. Jackasses.
Yeah, it's you can almost relate with the story you just told to rent control in New York City, where some old lady's in an apartment for, $450 a month, and then she either passes on or moves into a home, moves in with her kids or whatever, and all of a sudden that $450 a month apartment is $2,500 a month. Because they had rent control.
And it's basically, that's almost exactly what it is, honestly. And because that was never explained to us, what should have happened is we bought the house in October of 15. We actually closed on the house 2 weeks before Halloween. So what should have happened is around February of 16, when the property taxes were readjusted, because it usually happens within the first 6 months of you buying the home, our mortgage payment should have been adjusted by roughly about $100 a month. And at that point, we should have been paying the new normal for the property. But when we got money back on our escrow, and it said it was an escrow overage, we had assumed that things had gone the other way, because we didn't realize there was such a huge discrepancy between the information that we were getting from the county assessor and the information that was put in the mortgage. When I got money back from them, I just assumed, hey, obviously we're paying too much in for escrow. And apparently, no, they were just morons. So I took a day off work about a month ago and went and yelled at the county assessor, and the lady was like, this really isn't our fault. And I'm like, what do you mean it's not your fault? I said, this is the only thing that's changed. Our property taxes have almost tripled based on what it was when we bought the house. And she's like, yeah, that's normal. Did they not explain that to you in closing? I said, no, what do you mean that's normal? She said, well, here, let me show you. So she pulls it up and shows me the different screens. And this is what the property values were at the time the house was sold. This is what happens when you buy the house, because your property values get reassessed to your asking price that you paid for the house, and that becomes the new normal. She says, have you filed for homestead yet? And I said, no, I didn't know we needed to. And she's like, well, I can save you $100 on this from now on, but it won't help you for this year. And it'll also help you make sure that nothing drastic happens in the future other than the standard 3% increase. But yeah, they should have explained this to you. So I emailed the dude, because oddly enough, around that same time, I got the annual reminder of, hey, this is so-and-so, hoped you closed on your house. I'm still closely monitoring your mortgage, blah, 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 blah. Let me know if I can do anything for you. And I'm like, funny you should have sent this email right about now. Let me explain a few things to you. And so now I'm waiting to hear back how they're going to fix it, because I'm not a happy camper. It would be one thing.
I mean, at least it's not quite like Maryland. I mean, in Maryland, we bought our house for $167,000, and at closing, it had already been reappraised by the county to $300,000.
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, a $300,000 home here would be about like $1 million house anywhere else. And we have pretty low property taxes because they tax the hell out of pretty much everything else. So we don't have very high property taxes to begin with. So, I mean, it's funny because I'll talk to people from other states. They're like, you're throwing a fit over $1,400 in property taxes a year? They're like, you have any idea how much my property taxes are on the little one-room shack I'm paying on right now? And I'm like, you don't understand. It's where I'm at. That's a lot of money. And because they didn't do it right, my house payment went from X amount of dollars to X amount of dollars. They're like, I'm paying 5 times that much for a one-room shack. Shut the hell up. I'm like, it's still not the same thing.
Well, in the year 2000, in Metro DC, Maryland, a 2,200 square foot house on 0.17 acres was $300,000. That's what the appraisal was. And the appraisal held up because 4 years later, I sold the house for over $300,000. But in the meantime, I was paying $6,000 a year in property tax.
Ouch.
That's right. $500 a month.
Ouch. So yeah, I get that the pain is relative.
Now you know why I don't live in Maryland anymore.
Well, yeah, no, trust me, I've made a couple of trips to Maryland because that's where CPAC normally is. And the first time I bought a hamburger there, I about died. You want me to pay how much for a hamburger? Are you insane?
Yeah. When we were there, I went down and got lunch the second day there, and I ate lunch for. You had already eaten. You ate while I was doing interviews, and I went down and I got lunch for two of us, and I think just basically a light lunch there at the convention hall cost me like $22 for like a little tiny sandwich for each of us and a bag of chips.
Yeah, no, trust me, I'm aware. That's actually one of the reasons why I'm not going to be able to go this year. Even if I could find the money for the airfare and everything else, I'm not. That, and I got to thinking about it when I realized I could really probably hustle and find a way to get there. But I haven't taken a legitimate, just not going to do anything and kind of just veg vacation in. If I'm having to think back this long, that should tell you. It was 2009, the last time I actually just took a full week off and kind of did nothing but go have fun without it involving some sort of a press conference or political conference or something, which those are fun for me. So for me, I mean, that's kind of like a vacation, but I got to thinking about it and I'm kind of like, you know what? I just actually want to do a week of nothing. I want to take a week off from the radio stuff. I want to take a week off from the regular work stuff. And I think it's time for me to recharge a bit because I don't know. I mean, I dove into this at this point almost a decade ago, and I've made it a lot further than I really honestly expected to, but the little kid in me was expecting me to be, doing this full time by now and actually making enough money where I didn't have to make the trek into work every day. So every day that I have to make that trek, I die just a little bit more on the inside. I'm not gonna lie about it. But I mean, it's a stress relief, and I enjoy doing it. But at the same time, I don't want to kill myself just to get to yet another political convention, especially when this one didn't get mapped out nearly as well as we had hoped this one was going to. So I think I'm just going to drop back, chill out for a little bit this year, take some time off from everything, and then start planning for next year and make sure we get the whole crew there, one way or the other. Because that I don't want to do it again with just 2 or 3 people because that was exhausting.
Yeah, it was kind of exhausting. I had a great time. It was my first CPAC. Met some great people that I had never met before, and people that I kind of knew through social media or whatever, and got to meet them and had a great time. But it would be awesome to have a whole crew there. It would be fantastic. And, and to the vacation thing I did over Christmas, I took a full solid week off, and it's the first time I've done that since I don't even remember when. I mean, it's probably been 7 years, 8 years. So right along line with you, I took a week off and did nothing. Basically, I mean, I did stuff that I needed to do, stuff that I had been meaning to do, but for the most part, I just kind of chilled and slept in. And I'd been on that 2 straight night jobs, so I kind of got my sleep straight, and almost. I'm still struggling with the sleep thing a little bit, but it was nice to take a week off. It was really, really nice.
Yeah, and like I said, it's been forever since I've actually done that, and the more I got to thinking about it, I think this year I'm just going to take an actual vacation, maybe find a couple fun things to do with the wife instead of running off to DC and spending money that we really don't have right now, and, start planning for next year. But speaking of next year, we still have lots of things to talk about this year, and I'm sure people are probably tired of hearing me whine about being broke and my mortgage being screwed up, so we should probably start talking politics. And of course, 2018, starting about the way 2017 ended, still lots of cranky people, and triggering is still a thing. Apparently, Trump can declare war via Twitter, and all the liberals have a meltdown because he starts talking about something about his buttons bigger than Kim Jong-un's, and it becomes a dirty joke or something.
Yeah. I actually, I mean, honestly, it's a tweet, and you and I have both said it before. Maybe he should think before he tweets a little bit. Put the phone
down and back away slowly.
I mean, that tweet really, honestly, it made me chuckle. And in some ways I was kind of like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, say it. You know, you got this freaking little, I call him the NK Doughboy over there, that just, he likes to run his mouth and talk about how great he is and everything else. Well, he apparently lobbed a missile on his own people. Great job there, buddy. But
apparently that happened in April.
What's that?
I said apparently that happened in April, which it was funny because somebody that we know back in July was, before we ever knew about this story, was like, the odds of Kim Jong-un hitting us before he hits his own people with a missile are pretty much astronomical. And so she found that tweet that she put out back in July, and then she found the tweet about the story that just came out in April, and she's like, life comes at you fast, shot chaser.
Yep.
I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. Yes, I publicized that for her on both Twitter and Facebook. I really, there are times where I will say, you know what, Mr. President, put the phone down. But I have a lot of people that we know, they were calling him an idiot, and maybe to a certain extent, but I really liked the tweet. I did.
Well, honestly,
I thought it was.
Yeah, well, it sounds like something you and I would do. That's probably why we're okay with it.
Right.
Because, somebody says or does something stupid to us, we're usually the smart asses that pop right back off. And and that's why some of the things that he tweets, they don't really bother me. But then I look at him from, this is the guy that's supposed to be the leader of the free world, and he sounds like a pissed off fifth grader. Now, I will tell you the one, that one made me laugh. I have to admit, I rolled my eyes like I normally do when God, now he's got me talking in bad English. I roll my eyes like I normally do when he says something crazy, and then I just kind of chuckled about the, my button works and yours doesn't, because everybody knows it's pretty much true. He's doing everything he can to try to throw things at us, and they can't get there yet. Yet being the key word. I will tell you the tweet that kind of disturbed me is this one that's come out about the book, where Donald Trump is talking in broken English and talking about how this person was never given access to the White House. Bad book, terrible book, dumb book, and sloppy Steve. That came across as somebody that was red in the face, foaming at the mouth, spittle flying out. The only thing it was missing was the caps lock.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just
I totally agree with you with that. Now, Sloppy Steve is taken off.
Well, of course it is.
Funny.
But, the whole thing with Steve Bannon is I'm sitting here going, Mr. President, how many of us from day one were telling you the dude was bad and he was toxic, nuclear waste, stay the hell away from him, you don't want a devout Leninist in the White House, and you embraced him like he was the second coming. So you kind of got what you deserved there. I'm sorry.
Yeah. He absolutely did. You and I were both right on that bandwagon from the beginning. As soon as Bannon showed up, like, really? This guy? Never liked the guy. Still don't like him. He's single-handedly ruined Breitbart. But I do like the nickname he gave him. Boy, our POTUS, he can come up with some nicknames, can he?
Yeah, I don't know. To me, his nicknames have always, honestly, this is going to be one of those things where I kind of disagree. The nicknames are kind of juvenile. I can't say anything because I'm the same way. Jurassic era Barbie for our favorite California senator. I'm just as bad. So are a lot of other people that we know. I've borrowed a lot of nicknames, like the one I stole from JD for the crazy socialist, Crazy Uncle Speedo. It's just one of those things. It kind of becomes a catchphrase. So I get it, and that doesn't really bother me. What does bother me though is, again, And I hate to keep bringing this up, but we haven't really talked about it on this show yet. One of the things that concerned me was the second that the president's lawyer started talking about banning violating a non-disclosure agreement and stuff that was put out in that book. That's not something that you should have your lawyers talking about when the president's on Twitter screaming about how everything in the book is fake. You can't violate a non-disclosure agreement if the information you're giving out isn't accurate.
Right.
Just saying.
Oh.
Now it could be
things are just a mess. I mean, all the way around. Everything's a mess.
But here's the thing, though, and this is one of those things where I guess we're just going to have to kind of wait and see, because no matter how bad the media try to makes everything look when it comes to Trump, within 12 months everybody else has egg on their face, and he's standing around going, "See, I told you so."
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen it happen time and time again.
Well, I wanted to add something too when we're talking about the nickname thing, and I'm trying to think of who it was. It's somebody we both know, and if I was a tech guy, I would be putting it together right now. Is an online POTUS nickname generating machine.
Oh, I know we gotta have somebody that's technologically savvy.
Yes.
We need to get that out there.
I saw that the other day. I was like, oh my God, that's brilliant. Somebody needs to take that and run with it. It'd be as big as Trump draws.
I was going to say it would be as big as the Trump draws thing.
Yep.
All right, so anything in the
that
news
would be brilliant.
Absolutely brilliant. Actually, let's see where we are. It's probably just about time for us to take a break, actually. So I should probably start working on getting that queued up, because I started talking and stopped loading the board.
You love doing the show with me.
I have to admit, I do enjoy it.
I let you just free for all. I'm good with it.
All right, so let's go ahead and get the commercials out of the way, then we can come back and talk about some more stuff, because it's not like there's not plenty of news to talk about. So we'll be right back here in about 4 minutes. Stay tuned. Maybe.
You're out here acting so tough, and now I'm calling your bluff. Black hoods and no face.
Everyone loves liberty. Our rights come from God, not the government. So why are you letting other people tell you what's best for your healthcare? Exercise your freedom with Liberty Health Share. Liberty Health Share is a community of people who voluntarily share one another's medical costs. Liberty Health Share is founded on the idea that most people truly want to help one another. Healthcare sharing allows members to do just that as a true community that supports one another in times of need. Liberty believes people should make decisions for themselves and their families. Members are able to take back the freedom to make their own decisions about their healthcare. Freedom from guilt or doubt about how your money is used. You have the freedom to direct your healthcare, not to be dictated to by bureaucrats. Stop letting others tell you what to do and join a community of like-minded people. Exercise your freedom. Join Liberty Health Share and take back the control of your healthcare while helping those around you. Call Liberty at 855-58-LIBERTY. Again, that's 855-58-LIBERTY for more information, or you can check them out at libertyhealthshare.org. Again, that's libertyhealthshare.org.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now. 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
You're acting so tough, and now I'm calling your bluff. Black hoods and no faces.
All right, folks, welcome back. This is Robinson and Knight. We're live right now on Friday night, KLRNradio.com. Want to give a quick shout out to Political Woodstock. I am so sorry I didn't notice you in the speaker chat until just now. We've been hanging out in the main chat over at KLRNradio.com, so I didn't see the light pop on in the console. And yes, I do agree with you. The president is held to a higher standard. Yes, there is a call-in number. If you will give me a second, I will actually give it out over the air. So if you still are listening and would like to call in, you are welcome to do that here in just a moment. Why don't you take lead for a second while I go grab the call-in number? Because I don't give it out that often, and I don't have it memorized anymore.
Yeah, when was the last time someone called in?
Well, we don't usually give out the number, because most of the time nobody wants to call in. Last guy that called in was somebody that tried to tell us we were all morons that talked like he was autistic.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, that guy. But yeah, so anyway.
Yeah, that guy. He, wow.
Yeah.
He hit both Rick and I up on Twitter, and we ended up having quite a conversation that is a darn good thing that our show doesn't go out over terrestrial. I can tell you that much. That was a very heated conversation.
Well, I don't know. We got some compliments. Wow. We got some compliments from some listeners later who thought it was pretty hilarious, especially when I asked the guy if he wanted a cookie. But anyway, so for anybody who is out there and does want to contribute to the show, you are welcome to call in. I don't know why we don't think to give this out more often, but we do have a call-in number. It's 405-648-4798. We don't have a screener, so you'll just kind of be coming in live. So don't say anything you won't want me to play back to your mom when I find them. Just saying. And yes,
that guy that night, boy, he would not have wanted any of his conversation played back to his mom. He was a piece of work. I can't even remember his name now. But his name wasn't his name, but it was his name.
Oh, yeah. So anyway, if anybody is out there and they do want to call in, you are welcome to do that. And again, I want to apologize. I usually try to do a better job of keeping up with both chats, but I've had people DMing me on Twitter, people talking to me in the speaker chat, and in the main chat room. So it's been a little hectic for the guy trying to talk and push buttons at the same time. But so back to what we were talking about a second ago, I do agree with the person in the chat room who did say that the president should be held to a higher standard. But I have a question about that, though. Where did that originally come from? Why is it that the president's not really allowed to be a normal person like you and me?
I'm not sure. I've always kind of wondered that. I mean, we do have and I know that the First Amendment really comes down to, when you boil it down, it comes down to that the government shall not infringe your free speech. But, I mean, we are a free speech country. I don't have a problem necessarily with the president being able to say what he wants to say, but sometimes I have a problem with how he puts it forth. And it's not even just, I don't often really necessarily have a problem with what he says, but, the whole world's watching him. I guess just a certain decorum is supposed to be met, which makes some sense to me. But I have found myself more and more enjoying the feathers getting ruffled. I don't know why. Even if I don't agree with what he said, or I don't agree with how he said it, sometimes I just get this little, it's like the devil on my shoulder going, yeah, you want to laugh at it. Come on, laugh at it. Come on, look at what it's doing. Look what it's doing. And, like I said, it's like the little devil on my shoulder. On my other shoulder is a little angel going, come on now, he shouldn't have said that. And I'm like, yeah, I know he shouldn't have said that, but it's making me laugh. And it's making me laugh because it's like the whole of everything. I mean, not just Twitter. I mean, just the mainstream media just goes into a frenzy when he says something, and it makes me chuckle in a way because, like I said, like I kind of, half basically titled our show is, it's a new year and the triggering is the same. They are so easily triggered, and I almost picture him sitting there going, how can I word this to trigger everybody? You know what I mean? I mean, it's almost like, I think he words it the way he words it solely for the reason of getting that trigger, hitting that trigger. That's what he's doing it for. I'm starting to believe that, and
I firmly believe it, to be honest.
I don't necessarily like the tweet or what he says, but I like watching the reaction to it.
All right, so we have
Does that make sense?
Ron in the chat asking to repeat the number again. So that number is 405-648-4798. We won't put you guys through the extra pin, all that other stuff. You guys can just call this number direct because nobody's using it right now anyway. And so lines are open. Feel free to call in if you choose. But back to what you said a second ago before I got asked to give out the number again. I actually, at this point, I firmly believe that he's doing a lot of the things that he does on Twitter specifically for two reasons. One, his base love it. They eat it up. They go nuts anytime he tweets because they feel like it's a direct connection between him and the president, or them and the president. It's kind of what I was talking about on Off the Rails today. He has found a way through social media to connect with the American people. The last time I've seen an American populace disconnected to the president, and at least the ones that want to be connected to him anyway and aren't running away screaming, was Reagan. And no, again, I'm not trying to compare him to Reagan, but he's found some of the Reagan magic because the people that have connected with him, they view social media as just the straight up direct connection to him. And we do have a caller coming on the line, so bear with me for just a second while I get them added. All right, caller, you reached the Robinson and Wright Show. You are live on the air right now.
Hi, this is Angela. Are you guys based in Oklahoma?
I am, yes. My co-host is actually in where you're in North Carolina, right?
Cleveland, North Carolina.
There we go. So yeah, we're in two cities. So he's in North Carolina, I'm in Oklahoma, but the station itself is based out of Oklahoma. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I live in Tulsa. That's why I was asking.
Yeah, I recognize the area code. How are you?
Did he ask a question? I heard something.
I was just asking how you were.
Well, I'm doing fairly well. It's been a bit of a cold snap, as the rest of the nation has been. But, I don't find Grandpa's tweets, as I call them, funny. When he's representing our nation, and foreign relations are so delicate to begin with. In India, you can't cross your legs and show the sole of your foot to a leader. It's highly offensive to them. I mean, it's a bit ridiculous, but there's a reason for all the decorum. What say you?
Well, I mean,
I agree. I agree with you. I do. I get to the point where, I'll cringe. I'll look at something he tweets or listen to something he says and cringe. But then I
Dan,
how it triggers people.
Dan, I'm not even actually sure she can hear you. This happens.
No, I could not hear him.
Yeah, this happens from time to time when I try to bring in the two different connections. So I'm going to now, usually on the broadcast, you can hear the co-host, but for some reason you're not hearing him through Skype. So let me check something real quick, and I'll kind of translate. What the co-host was saying was he actually agrees with you. Most of the time when Trump tweets, he actually cringes, but he does. And one of the things that we've been talking about today was the fact that even though we find it cringeworthy, in some respects, to me, honestly, as much as I hate it, there's also a part of me that likes it, and I'll explain that. Because for the last 8 years, we've basically been called, well, at least for conservatives, we were basically called bitter clingers. We didn't want to give up our guns, our religion, or the Constitution. So having somebody that's willing to basically take the fight back to the people that were giving us crap for 8 years, maybe I'm being a little petty, but I actually kind of like it.
Obama was a constitutional lawyer. I mean, if you think about it.
No, I never said Obama wasn't a constitutional lawyer, but but the issue with that is a lot of the things that he did were direct violations of the same Constitution that he swore to protect and defend.
Well, that's one big onion there to peel.
Well, as an example, he didn't have the authority to pass DACA with a pen and a phone, but he did it anyway.
What about the things that Trump has done, President Trump has done when he's dismantled programs and, with a pen?
Well, most of what President Trump has done with a pen is to dismantle executive orders that, in my opinion, never should have been passed in the first place. If you want my honest opinion, I don't think any president. I don't think any president should have the power of executive order. I don't care what the letter is behind their name.
Well, I think it's not the best thing to have, the executive order, because it diminishes Congress and the Supreme Court. It diminishes it.
Exactly. In my opinion, no matter the letter behind the president's name, for the last 30 to 40 years, there has been entirely too much power centralized behind the executive branch. It actually overwrites a lot of what's intended through Congress. But the fact that you point out that Barack Obama is a constitutional lawyer, while he was also exercising that very same power that usurps power from every other branch of the Constitution, I have a problem with that.
Well, we could talk about Nixon, too. I mean,
we could, but
there's bad in both sides, in my opinion.
I wasn't alive during Nixon, so I don't really have a frame of reference. Yes, Nixon was probably one of the worst presidents of that era, and I don't dispute that. But again, this isn't about the letter behind somebody's name. This is about the fact that a constitutional lawyer systematically dismantled the Constitution.
Well, I don't know if I'd go that far, but I don't know if you can tell I'm more of a progressive Democrat.
Well, I kind of figured, but that's all right. I don't disparage anybody's views as much as possible. Honestly, at this point, though, since for some reason the co-host isn't able to hear you, I'll give you another minute or so to ask.
Can you call me?
Oh,
actually, hang on.
I can hear
Pardon?
her. I just don't think she can hear me.
Yeah, he says he can hear you, but for some reason you can't hear him.
I cannot.
I'm not sure if my calling you would make any difference. Let's do this another way, because I think what's happening is I actually have him on a conference line, and I think that's for some reason the two connections aren't connecting. So I can give you the conference number and the PIN. You can call back that way. That way you guys should be able to hear each other.
Oh, hold on, I got to turn on the light.
Sure.
But I helped get Allison Ikley Freeman elected in the Tulsa area. I don't know if you're familiar. It's one of the districts we flipped that had been Republican.
Yeah, I'm aware.
I'm looking for a pen.
No worries.
But it's interesting what's happening in Oklahoma and other states. I'm sorry, I'm trying to prolong this. Looking for a pen. Nyliner's not going to work. Hold on. So what got you to start this podcast?
Actually, it's, believe it or not, it started as a political Facebook page.
Oh.
Well, the original
Sounds
show
like
that started everything that we've been doing here actually started as a political Facebook page, and then we got the idea to turn it into a podcast, and then it kind of became a broadcast network, and now other shows that I do are actually carried around the country and in a lot of terrestrial markets, and this is just one of the ones that we do for fun. I do actually this one, then there's another show I do on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then the main show I do is Tuesdays through Fridays, so there's usually about 7-8 hours a week that I'm on the radio somewhere.
Wow. Well, congratulations. And I do have a Sharpie I can use.
Okay. So the number, if you want to give us a call back real quick, is this one's a bit different. So it's going to be 716 748 0624. And this one is actually a conference line, so you'll have to enter a PIN to basically get through the front door over there. It's 80093.
So that number is 716-748-0624 with the PIN of 80693, or I think
Nope, it's 800.
800, okay.
And then 93.
93. Okay. Well, thanks a lot. I appreciate it. It's an honor to be on your show.
You're more than welcome. All right, so I didn't realize we were already up. It's almost to 11 o'clock, but that's all right. If she calls back, we'll just run a few minutes over.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, so
she had some interesting points. I mean, but you know, like I said, there needs to be some understanding that I don't necessarily always agree with what Trump says or does, and like I said, sometimes I even cringe, but I do love to see the unraveling after he does it.
And it looks like she's back on the line with us.
Hello?
Hello? This is Rick. Are you there?
Hey. I am here. Is your friend there?
Yes, you should be able to hear each other.
I'm here. Can you hear?
I can hear you. Wow. The magic trick.
Yeah, for some reason, I had you guys on separate sliders, and for some reason the one number wasn't able to interact very well with the other one. But since you've already heard my take on it, I'll let you guys talk for a few minutes.
Well, you know, Rick did a pretty good job of saying what I'd say. I do, you know, a lot of times when the president says something or tweets something out, I cringe. But it comes from both sides. Sometimes I just enjoy kind of sitting back and watching everybody unravel over it. It's almost out of curiosity. I'm like, you know, okay, he tweeted something. Why is everybody melting down over it? And like I said, it may be something that he said that I'm just like, oh, I've said it plenty of times on this show. I've said somebody needs to take this phone away from him. I've said it, and I wasn't a Trump supporter. I didn't vote for Trump. I was not happy when he got the nomination. And I'm not always happy with him, but I'm not always displeased with him either. But that's how I am
like that
with every. What's
Did you
that?
like that governor from Maryland? There was a governor from Mike O'Malley. Did you like him?
No. And I used to live in Maryland, so not an O'Malley fan at all.
I had a meeting with him in November. He's more common sense than some of the other people we had to choose from.
There's a reason I don't live in Maryland anymore, and it goes somewhere in between the fact that I was paying the way Maryland works. I was paying federal income tax, state income tax, county income tax, local income tax, $6,000 a year in property tax. Some of the highest gas taxes on the East Coast. Everything in Maryland is taxes. Everything.
Wow.
And look at Baltimore, and look at Baltimore City schools. They can't even heat their schools, so they're all closed right now.
This is true. I saw that earlier tonight.
Yeah.
44
Maryland's
degrees in the closed classrooms.
Yep. Absolutely. And I'm here in North Carolina, and there were some issues here this week, but where schools had to start 2 hours later or whatever. But here in North Carolina, we're also not used to it being 5 degrees in the morning.
That's true.
That's what happens. But none of the schools were closed because they had no heat, and here we are in the South. And I've lived in Maryland, and I'll say O'Malley seemed like a nice guy. Didn't agree with much of anything policy-wise with him. And it seemed like every policy that was enacted in some way took another dollar out of my pocket. And that's why I don't live in Maryland anymore. I mean, I literally couldn't afford it.
Oh, it sounds like it was extreme. There has to be some balance there. In Oklahoma, we have quite a bit of taxes, but there's a balance.
Yeah, I mean, I was paying $6,000 a year property tax on a 2,200 square foot house that sat on a postage stamp lot.
Oh my gosh, that's just awful.
Yeah, and the schools were falling apart. I lived in Prince George's County. The schools were atrocious.
What about the infrastructure, the roads? How are they?
That's a hard area to judge because it's such an old area, the D.C. area. I think they do a pretty good job of doing what they can, but the area is so congested anyway. There's no place to put new roads, and there's no way to really expand the roads. They do a pretty good job with the Beltway and the interstate system, but other than that, there's nothing they can do. I think they do a good job.
I'd like to interject for just
in Maryland and Virginia. In Maryland and Virginia, D.C.'s terrible.
Hey, Dan, I'd like to interject for just a second, only because I've actually made a couple of trips into Maryland. Just to give you a point of reference for something that you might not have experienced either. I've never seen potholes on an interstate highway before until I went to Maryland.
They have potholes on there?
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
Not even kidding. Next time I go to CPAC, I'll take a picture and find a way to get it to you. I literally lost my mind when I was driving on an interstate highway and we had to miss a chug hole. I was like, you've got to be kidding me.
It's
crazy.
because
That could
it's even worse in Virginia because the interstates in Virginia.
No, don't tell me that.
Especially 66 is concrete. So when a chunk disappears, it only takes about an hour for it to turn into a giant pothole because it's concrete.
Gosh.
So every car that hits it, it just falls apart.
I'm supposed to go to Virginia in February, so that's shocking.
Well, and Rick can attest. I mean, we went to CPAC last year, and I stayed with my brother who lived in D.C. And I made a right-hand turn and didn't realize it till the next morning, but I made a right-hand turn, and I knew I had hit a spot in the street. I could feel it when I hit it with my truck.
Oh, man.
I came out to my truck the next morning. Already we had interviews lined up. And I walked out to my truck to a flat tire and changed it in the gutter in D.C. D.C. streets are terrible.
Yeah,
I'm glad I won't be driving my car.
DC schools aren't much better than Baltimore schools.
He left me alone with a full schedule of interviews because of a flat tire. No, you're not living that down either.
Wow.
Just kidding.
Well, I'll be going to a place called Woodbridge. It's about 10, 11 miles away from the White House.
Woodbridge is nice. It's not bad.
But they say they call it Woodbridge.
Outskirts of. Well, it depends on what part of Woodbridge you go to, like any town.
They had a lot of, what is that called, foreclosures there. I think that's why it got that title. Empty houses, crime rises, and it's sad.
Yeah, that's pretty much Woodbridge is at the outer edges of the D.C. metro area.
Well, that gives me a different take on O'Malley. I haven't really talked to anyone that's been in Maryland for an extended time, and that's
now I will tell you, I did prefer O'Malley to Glendenning, if that means anything to you.
Okay, because I mean they're planning, they're wanting to run for president again, his campaign, and I think he stands a chance. If you want to talk about putting your foot in your mouth, Glendenning could do it. There was one year, it was Gay Pride Day. So Glendenning came out and said, turn on your headlights for Gay Pride Day. And it rained. Maryland state law is you have to burn your headlights when it rains. So he actually came out and said, it was amazing to see all of the headlights on out there today. No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
I'm sorry, that's a little bit funny. Now, see, something like that I'll laugh at. Yeah, but I mean, he's not the president, so.
No. Still the governor of a state, though.
Now, Rick, it is Rick, correct?
Yes, it is.
I don't want to call you the wrong name. Maybe both of you can chime in on this. It's just a question. I saw that they're considering a third gender on birth certificates in the state of Oklahoma, which they've done in Washington. How do you feel about that, or what do you think about it? And it would be called X, gender X, for those that have not identified as male or female, or if the parent decides that they do not want to identify the child or the infant's gender by male or female.
I'm not actually sure you want my honest answer, but you asked, so I'm going to give it to you anyway.
No, I do want to hear it.
That's you may not.
It's a new issue to talk about.
You may not have listened to me much. I'm pretty facetious. That was just me being me. But as far as my actual take on it, and again, I'm going to kind of broaden the scope on it just a bit to explain where I'm coming from on it.
Sure.
My issue with that is the party that's been telling me for forever that I need to give up in my faith in Jesus because science proves there isn't a God, has basically just told me that science doesn't prove there is a gender when we already know that's not true, because it does, because there's a specific thing that triggers whether you are considered male or female. Those are your chromosomes. That is your gender. There isn't another one. You're either male or you're female. If you're anything other than that, technically you're an aberration. So, I mean, I know there are people that are born with both sets of genitalia, some internalized, some I've actually even heard of folks with externalized. So maybe for those folks, we might need to broaden our horizons a bit. But for the idea of I feel more like a woman today, so I'm going to call myself a woman, I don't agree with that. I just don't.
Well, I respect your opinion. Go ahead, sir.
Here's my take on it. Is literally two people the parents deciding for themselves that they don't want to declare what another person is. And I don't think that's right. I'm what you call a classical liberal. And I believe that if you grow up, you go through life, you go through your childhood, and you feel like you're either attracted to the same sex, or that you're, the way that I could put it, a female trapped in a male body or a male trapped in a female body, and you want to work on that and go with that, and you're a man and you decide you want to be a woman, that's up to you. That's totally up to you. I do not think it should be up to the parents from birth to decide, well, we had a boy but we wanted a girl, and we feel like he's going to want to be a girl. So that's how we're going to work this. Because if you're going to have 3 genders, it's putting it in the parent's hand to decide. And I think a person should be able to decide it on their own. And like I said, I believe you should be able to be or do whatever or whoever you want to be. That's fine with me. I believe in liberty. I believe that's up to you, but I don't believe it's up to 2 other people to decide it for you. Let that person grow up and be who they want to be.
It's interesting that you use the word liberty, which is you're born with it. It's innate within you. Liberty is. It's different from freedom. But when an infant is born, like my child had genitalia that was female, but yet had male markers. I wish I had had the opportunity to select gender X, because some things were not quite defined. It wasn't, the genitalia is formed first, and then the brain finishes later. And that part of the brain which determines gender, even though you talk about the chromosomes, is not that simple. I have a transgender son that you can do a SPECT scan and see if the person has a male or female brain. These people that feel trapped, that they were born to be the other gender, there is an actual physical reason for that. And it's much easier to fix the genitalia than it is the brain. So I think this might be a good option. And this is a very, very small portion of the population. It's not like it's going to be a third of the babies are going to be gender X. It's going to be a very small, minute amount. And I wish I had had that opportunity when my child was born. And it hasn't been easy.
I'm sure it hasn't, but at the same time, I mean, you're obviously a very open-minded person, and so am I. I mean, if one of my sons, if one of my sons came to me and said, this is not who I want to be, this is not who I think I am. I'm moving in this other direction. I mean, it's my child. To me, it's their choice. I'm going to be totally supportive of that. And you may say, I mean, conservatives get the stigma, but I'll be honest with you. At CPAC last year, I did an interview with 2 transgender women who are conservatives, and during the interview, they told me, that at first they were nervous about going to CPAC. And when I interviewed, it was on the 3rd day of CPAC, and they told me that they were incredibly surprised at how welcome they were. They had been doing interviews for all 3 days, and I had a great interview with them. Yeah, but there's a stigma with conservatives that
Well, I think it's with people in general.
they're not tolerant. No, I agree with you. I do think it's with people in general. But the stigma
because I
pushed
see
to
it on the
conservatives
Democratic side. I see it.
Yeah, and, I get this. There's always this stigma that conservatives are, anti-gay and anti-trans, and we're not. I mean, we're just. What I don't want is what I don't like is when things are pushed. Don't push it. Don't. I can accept it. Don't make me go beyond accepting it. I've actually been told that I'm transphobic because I wouldn't date a trans person. Well, how does that make me transphobic? That's my choice.
You said something earlier about the sexuality. Transgender is about gender. This was a really big deal to me to learn. That transgender is about gender, not sexuality. That their sexuality is separate from their gender. And that made sense to me. After a while, I was very a deer in headlights type of situation. And I didn't see this coming, though I should have. My child had been suicidal. My child had hair on his back without any testosterone or anything. There was a lot of male markers. I'll just put it that way. And life is so complicated.
I'm not. I don't disagree with you. I mean, the point I was making is that that a person should be able to, if they have feelings one way or the other, they should be able to choose their sexuality or their gender if they want. If that's the way they want to go, they should have the freedom to do that. I totally agree with that. I have no problem with that.
But their brain is one way or the other. It's not a choice.
Right.
It's their brain that's a certain way.
Okay, but what I'm also saying is, like I said, I've actually been called a bigot because I said I would not date a transgender. How does that make me a bigot? I mean,
well, I wouldn't date a black man, but I love to date black women. I think maybe that's a preference.
Correct. And my preference is to be with a woman. That's my preference. It doesn't make me a bigot. And I'm not saying you're saying I'm a bigot. I'm saying I've been called a bigot. There are actually people out there that say that if you wouldn't date a trans woman, it makes you a bigot. No, it doesn't make you a bigot.
This way.
It's just
cisgendered. Do you know what cisgendered is?
Yes.
That means that you're a male and you have a male mind and a male bodied, and there's not a problem, or a female brain and a female body, if you get what I'm saying. Maybe saying I prefer a cisgendered female. And then they can't really call you that by saying I do not want to date a transgender female. You say I prefer to date cisgendered females. How can they call you a bigot when you say that?
Yeah, but why does that make me a bigot?
Well, I'm just saying maybe they look for an out to label someone, to limit them by a label, which is why I think the word bigot is. It's a label. It's very limiting.
Yeah, and
to not give them that
another
opportunity.
Label. Right, and it's another label that to me is becoming very diluted. There are a lot of labels these days that are very diluted. I mean,
I agree. We have a new form of bullying. Yes. Alt-right.
Oh, yeah.
Some people use that as a slam. Oh, well, he's alt-right, or she is. But I find today the new form of being a bully is being oversensitive. And we need to allow people to be who they are, without trying to change them or being an elitist in whatever area it is that we disagree with them. What say you?
You're absolutely right. And I've said it about Twitter. A few years ago on Twitter, I used to have fun. I used to debate. There was actual debate.
Mm-hmm. That's
People
true.
like you and I, we could talk like we are now. You can't do it anymore. It goes from 0 to 100 in 2 seconds.
Everybody's looking
I'll
for
give,
that
I'll
next
give an
person
opinion.
to put out there.
Right. I'll give an opinion,
crazy.
and if I give an opinion, I'm all of a sudden I'm a Trumpanzee, or I'm an alt-righter, like you said, and I'm not. I mean, I went all the way through the primaries being attacked by the alt-righters, and now all of a sudden I'm an alt-righter, and it's like, no, I'm not. I'm just trying to talk here, and it's become difficult. Debate has become very difficult. The divides have become very defined, and it's not just right-left. I even see it. It's also right, and left.
Yeah.
You have, I get into just as many arguments with people on the right as I do with people on the left, and I see it with friends of mine that are progressives. You've got your Hillary camp and your Bernie camp, and there's these divides, and nobody seems to be able to talk anymore. Why can't we just talk? No, I'm glad you called into the show tonight, because here we are, we're talking. And
I
talking
think we
is
can
good.
have that. Duplicity, or just a different frame of ideas, and we're never going to go anywhere if we're always pushing against each other.
Yeah, I mean, and I get it in my, and it's somebody that I'm actually been thinking about having on the show is my own brother. My brother's a progressive, and we have amazing conversations. We have amazing conversations, and we're best friends. We are best friends, and we both said it to each other. It's like, why can't everybody else talk like we do? Maybe because there's brotherly love there, but at the same time, we can sit down and we can talk. And I can agree with some things he says, and he can agree with some things I say, and we're not really all that far apart. We tend to actually come together on a lot more than we differ on. But when you get into discussing things with people that you don't know, it always seems to be the things that you disagree on that take precedence instead of the things that you do agree on. You and I have just sat here tonight, and we've agreed with each other on a lot of stuff, and we've seen each other's points. Even if we don't necessarily agree, we understand each other's points, and that's the way it's supposed to be. And hopefully, eventually here, there can be some mending in this country, and that can start happening again. And I don't think it's necessarily totally the fault of people like you and me and people that we associate with and talk to on social media or whatever. I really think it's more the fault of politicians and the media. Everything
what
gets
about
hyped.
Culture? I think culture plays a bigger part.
Culture too. I think culture plays a part in it too.
That thing, the bully thing now, it's being oversensitive. Take a look at the news and watch that culture permeate through, I don't know, I don't care what channel it is, Fox, CNN, your local news, it's going to be there. There was a man, and maybe you might know the author. He wrote a book called White Girl Bleed a Lot. And he talked about culture and the media and, how there was a lot of, I think, black on white crime that was not being reported. It was happening in Europe and the States. He's got a very, what would be the word, inflammatory view. But some of what he says, I think, has merit, in my opinion. Do you know Colin? What is his last name? Rick, do you know it?
I'm not exactly sure who you were referencing.
Well, he wrote a book, White Girl Bleed a Lot, and then there was Don't Make the Black Kids Angry. And it had to do more with media than those topics, the reporting of real news. Colin, if you look up those two books, he'll come on a podcast easily, and he's a really good interviewer. He used to work at the Post. He's won a number of awards. He's a journalist.
Colin Flaherty.
Yeah, that's it. He's a really nice guy from the interviews I've heard of him being interviewed. But maybe you guys might like that, because that's where I started thinking of the new form of abuse as being oversensitive. I read some excerpts, and I listened to a lot of interviews he gave. And I listen to all different types of people. I'm sure you guys do too. But, I've taken up a lot of your time, so...
No, that's perfectly fine. But yeah, thank you for putting him on my radar, because I'm going to have to reach out to him.
I have a hard time with mainstream media in general, and it's not just CNN, MSNBC. I mean, I don't watch Fox News anymore either. I don't have the Blaze, so I don't watch it. I did like it because I'm actually a big fan of Dana Loesch, but
she's not there
anymore. I really don't watch any mainstream media anymore. I find my news from news sites, and I do read, I'll go on and I'll read plenty of liberal news sites too. I like to get every side of everything. But I really don't watch TV news anymore. I can't. I just can't watch it because the slants just drive me crazy. And like I said, with Fox News it does too. Now there are people on Fox News that I like that I will occasionally turn on, but it's more tongue-in-cheek stuff like Greg Gutfeld and stuff like that. But for the most part, I can't even watch TV news anymore. I can't. I just can't do it. I have to get what's going on elsewhere, which pretty much means reading. That's pretty much all of the news I get. I can't watch broadcast news. I just can't. I don't like any of them. And like I said, I'm not biased on that front. I can't stand watching Fox either. And I'll admit, I was a Fox fiend years ago. But
when we were Fox fiends,
I can't watch any of it.
When we were Fox fiends, though, that was back when Combs was alive. I used to love Hannity and Combs when they were.
That's right. That's it too. I mean, I loved Hannity and Combs. I watched it every night, and to be honest with you, Alan Combs was my favorite part of that show, not Sean Hannity. Because even if I didn't agree with him, he had a great sense of humor. He put his points forward with, it was just, he was always the calmer of the two. I mean, he made his points, and whether I agreed or disagreed with him, I always enjoyed listening to him make his points. And I just think on both sides, I just think that's missing. I just think it's gone. I don't know how
It was gone in 1980s when it happened. Because before 1980, you had to report both sides of the story. They called it fair. What did they call it? Fair something reporting. It didn't have to do with your credit. But President Reagan, dismantled that. And then came all the slanted news. Well, I mean, you can look it up. I mean, it's there.
Yeah, but I think it was more than even Ronald Reagan. I think it was more the advent of cable, and you all of a sudden you had 24-hour news services, and it got to the point where opinion had to come into it because they had to fill 24-hour news cycle. There will never be. I'm not going to say there aren't. I mean, there are. I like Jake Tapper. I do. I like him. I think for the most part he's fair, and I like. I mean, there's a handful of actual news guys, and I'm not talking about the opinion guys. I'm not talking about the Hannitys and the Maddows or any of them. I'm talking about just news guys. Brett Baer, I just think he's great at delivering the news. And like I said, I like Jake Tapper. You know, there's guys that I do like, but for the most part, I think it's lost. There's no real news guys. You know, the Morrows and the Brinkleys and the Chancellors, they're gone, and they're never coming back.
Yeah,
well, I spoke with Senator Langford. Go ahead, Rick.
No, I was going to say I actually kind of agree with you. And again, I know what you were referencing a moment ago. I believe what you were referring to was the fairness doctrine. I don't necessarily think
the fairness doctrine. Thank you.
I don't necessarily think that was the beginning of the end. I'm more aligned with Dan. I think what started killing us was the 24-hour news cycle that was hungry for stories and starving for ad revenue. The news became less about the truth and more about money. So that's where we really started losing things. And I know that's an odd thing for me to say, since I'm a guy that actually makes a little bit of ad revenue off of doing an opinion show, but I also don't try to pass myself off as a reporter either. But anyway, at this point, did either of you have any closing points? Because we're actually coming up on the bottom of the hour. We're going to have to take another really quick break, and then actually we probably need to start winding down because we usually only do this one for 60 minutes.
Oh, wow. Well, I appreciate you having me on. That's an honor, and I enjoyed your show, and I'll probably listen again.
You are more than welcome, and you're welcome to call back anytime. The number is the same.
I'm very glad you called.
Oh, well, thank you. I do appreciate that.
All right, well, folks, this has been Robinson and Wright. We're going to take another really quick break, pay some bills, and then come back and say goodnight. We'll be back with you here in just about 3 minutes. Stay tuned.
You're out here acting so tough, and now I'm calling you.
Everyone loves liberty. Our rights come from God, not the government. So why are you letting other people tell you what's best for your healthcare? Exercise your freedom with Liberty Health Share. Liberty Health Share is a community of people who voluntarily share one another's medical costs. Liberty Health Share is founded on the idea that most people truly want to help one another. Healthcare sharing allows members to do just that as a true community that supports one another in times of need. Liberty believes people should make decisions for themselves and their families. Members are able to take back the freedom to make their own decisions about their healthcare. Freedom from guilt or doubt about how your money is used. You have the freedom to direct your healthcare, not to be dictated to by bureaucrats. Stop letting others tell you what to do and join a community of like-minded people. Exercise your freedom. Join Liberty Health Share and take back the control of your healthcare while helping those around you. Call Liberty at 855-58-LIBERTY. Again, that's 855-58-LIBERTY for more information, or you can check them out at libertyhealthshare.org. Again, that's libertyhealthshare.org.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now. 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 $3 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
I feel kind of bad because I keep using the bumper for Off the Rails, but I couldn't find anything for this one, and that's all right, because come Monday, all this stuff for Off the Rails is changing anyway. Want to thank our guest who actually called in. Actually, I hope you do check out the rest of the shows here on KLRNradio.com, and also you are welcome back as a call-in anytime. It was a pleasure. It's nice to know that there are people out there that you can have differences of opinion with, and it doesn't end in a screaming match, because, like Dan said, the last time we tried this with somebody with a differing point of view, it didn't go quite as nicely. We are officially really, really long, because it's normally a 60-minute show. We are crossing the 91-minute mark, so anything else you want to touch on? Because I know you've probably got some stuff going on tomorrow, and so do I.
I mean, no, not really. I mean, actually ended up, I liked that call. That was, you and I talked about it off the air. It's nice to actually talk and not yell and scream and call each other names.
Yes, it was very refreshing. All right, folks, so as per normal, we're going to give out contact information here. So if you'd like to follow along with me on Twitter, you can do that at Radio Host Rick. That's actually one of the easiest ways to keep up with me. I am on Facebook. You can search for Rick Robinson or America Off the Rails. If you decide to follow my professional Facebook page, look for the one with the Time Magazine looking cover with the cartoon character. Yeah, I did that on purpose because there are like a bazillion Rick Robinsons out there. I will interact with you there. No, that is not my personal Facebook page. You only typically get that one if I know you or if we've interacted in real life. So that's what the professional one's for. You can also follow along with the show. One of these days I need to get one put together for RandW. I don't know. Too many eggs. Things need to be done, not enough time. But so anyway, so those are the easiest ways to keep up with me. And if you're old school and you want to shoot me an email, you're welcome to do that at rick@klrnradio.com. That box is monitored anytime I'm in the studio. I still can't figure out how to get it to port over to my Android phone because it doesn't like the settings. So I don't always see that one. So if I don't respond right away, it's not that I don't like you. It's that I can only see the email for about 8 hours out of a 24-hour day. That's usually about the amount of time I spend in my studio, on top of doing full-time work elsewhere else. Yeah, it's time for me to go. I'm getting sleepy and sleepy stupid. All right, so why don't you go ahead and tell folks where it is that they can hang out with you when you're not on the radio hanging out with me.
You can hang out with me on Twitter at MadFeist, F-I-E-S-T. And on Facebook, it's just my name, Dan Wright. It's a personal account, but it's also a public account. So hit me up and I'll check you out and I'll friend you back. That's about it. But I'm usually on Twitter.
Yeah, me too. I don't know. Honestly, everybody was acting like this latest round of changes for Twitter was going to nuke it for everybody, and I really haven't seen that much of a change, so I'm hoping I didn't just jinx myself. But, yeah, I did recently spent like 12 hours in Twitmo because I called somebody a moron. which was kind of weird because I've been called much worse. And yeah, but whatever. So I spent 12 hours back on Facebook, and I was like, now I remember why I don't really like this place. Facebook has become MySpace.
To me, I really, I'll occasionally put something on there, political or whatever, but for the most part on Facebook, it's just interacting with friends and family, and that's about it.
Yeah, like I said, it's become
But
MySpace.
yeah, I did welcome you. I welcomed you to the Twitmo Club. Of course, you haven't, knock on wood, you haven't had it nearly as bad as me.
Yeah, I was going to say, at least you were there to give me the tour, because, you've kind of gotten the whole treatment from Twitmo. You're like, hey, let me show you around. I'm like, this really sucks.
Do you know how many stupid Gmail accounts I have because of the last year on Twitter?
Yeah, go figure. All right, so actually, since I just confirmed this, I want to go ahead and give it out now. Chad Alexander from KOKC Radio will be joining me on the America Off the Rails show this coming Wednesday, so make sure you tune in for that. We'll put out some promotional material later in the week. It should be fun. Actually, if you've not listened to their show yet, I do encourage you to do so. It is available on iHeartRadio. I actually co-host The Ride from 3 to 6 Central, right here in the Oklahoma City metro area. He'll actually be on. We'll be talking. Actually, he's in the process of putting a book out, so we're going to talk about that. Going to give you guys some background for those of you who may not have heard him before. His wife was actually a prominent figure in the Trump campaign here in Oklahoma. And he was one of the ones that had me screaming at the radio all the way through the primary because he was convinced Trump was going to win, and I was convinced he was crazy. This is my chance to publicly apologize because he was right, I was wrong. I've said it to him privately. Now I get to say it on the air. But he'll be with us, I hope, for the whole hour on Wednesday, so make sure you guys do tune in for that. If you can't catch it live, make sure you catch it on a podcast. On that note, folks, we are out for the night. I will be back with you Tuesday night for America Off the Rails, and of course, if you'd like, you can check restreams out over the weekend over on crndigitaltalk.com and the Lanterns Radio Network. Want to again thank the caller who called in with us tonight. We actually ran long specifically for you because we don't take callers that often, and it was nice to have somebody that wanted to talk without yelling. So again, I do appreciate the fact that you took time to listen, took time to call in and give us opinions and remain cordial, even though we were actually on opposite sides of a lot of our discussion. And again, you are welcome back anytime. I hope everybody enjoys your weekend. Again, this is Robinson and Wright. We'll be back with you next week. It'll be Friday again before you know it, so just hang tight.